Ipswich Town right now are on fire. Last season they got promotion to the championship by finishing second in the league, and right now they're first in the championship after 3 games. It's safe to say they're doing pretty well, but I think I can do a little bit better. So today I'm taking control of Ipswich Town, and by the end of this video I'll be making them the best team in the world. And if you've seen the title, you've already guessed it, we are only allowed to sign free agents. So this is the starting 11 I've loaded into with Ipswich Town, and I'm going to be real, this team is kind of cracked. They've literally only got 1 player on loan to them right now from Leicester City, which for a championship team is very rare to come by. On top of that, they've only got 4 players 30 years old or above, and for any team that's actually pretty impressive. And to top it off, they've got some solid talents in their squad like Luf Wolfenden, left back Leif Davies, and defensive midfielder Morsey. So I'll be honest, this Ipswich Town side is absolutely brilliant. But as you know, we are only signing free agents, which is why I'm getting rid of every single youth academy player that we've got. Not that right now any of those guys would have actually helped us. But the good news gets even better, is we've got 11 million to spend in our first season in charge. And just like last time, we are limited to 3 transfers per season before we get into the Premier League, but I'm allowed to sign whoever I want. So if Ronaldo for some reason became a free agent next year, I would be allowed to sign him. Although when you come to think about it, that could be slightly unrealistic. But looking at this Ipswich Town side, it's pretty difficult to choose where to buy for, and that leads me to Ipswich's one con. Because majority of this team is pretty young, that leads me to believe majority of them will improve quite well, which leaves me wondering where the hell I've got to buy for in this squad. But one position I am improving is the striker role, because George Hurst is currently on loan from Leicester City, and it just so happens that he's our best striker. And I'm happy to leave the defence and goalkeeper alone for now. They're pretty young and hopefully they can grow quite well this year. And that leads me to the last 2 positions I'm going to try and improve, our 2 wingers, Broadhead and Burns. And it's not for any other reason than the fact that I've done a lot of these free agent videos. I know for a fact that there's a couple of better wingers out there. Well, starting with the striker, I'm going for a fan favourite of yours. Artem Dovbyek is 25 years old and 70 overall. And as for the first winger, this guy before has really taken me by surprise. Arnor Sigurdsson, he's only 23 years old and already 72 rated. And for the third and final transfer of this window, I'm going for Osman Bukhari, who's 23 years old and 72 rated as well. But that wasn't the end of our transfer window, as I sent out Cameron Humphreys, Tyrese John Jules, Kyle Edwards, Kane Vincent Young, and Nathan Broadhead all out on loan. Like I keep saying, this team's got a lot of talent and it'd be wasted just sitting on the subs bench. But we have done everything I wanted to do in that transfer window, so this is the starting 11 that's going to go into season 1. And I know in real life they are absolutely smashing it in the championship, but for the first season I don't think we're going to do that well. We do have some talented players in this squad, but we need time to let them develop and grow as players so that we can push for promotion in either season 2 or 3. And that, to be honest, is my main objective for season 1. Overall growth in the starting 11, and if we get a really good finish in the championship with that, I'll be very happy with it. Well boys, we've just reached the end of our first season in the championship, and I'm gobsmacked. We're in the playoffs alongside Middlesbrough, Leeds United and Norwich. My judgment lately on how I think we're going to perform each season has been absolutely shocking. I'm keeping my gob shut from now on. And we've just made it past Leeds United in the semis, and we're playing Norwich in the final. Could you imagine if we actually get promotion this year, man? That would be insane. Who is going to get promoted? Whoa, okay. We just got humbled. 3-1. Come on, man. I thought we'd have put up a better fight than that. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't even expecting to get a top 10 finish, so the fact we got to the playoff final is actually a massive achievement. But look at the improvement in this team, man. I think if we target specific positions next year, we've got a good shot of automatic promotion. And boys, the stats are as impressive as you'd expect. 14 and 7 for Bukhari, 15 and 6 for Chaplin, 17 and 2 for Dovbyk, and 18 and 13 for Sigurdsson. To get to the playoff final, now our first season as a newly promoted team in the championship, you really can't complain at that. But next year, if we get lucky with our free agent signings, I think we've got a genuine shot of automatic promotion. But before we go any further, did you know I'm on the road to 40k subscribers before the end of FIFA 23? So if you're enjoying the video so far, drop it a like and hit that subscribe button. So we're now into season 2 with Ipswich Town after very nearly getting promotion last year. But looking at this starting 11, if we're serious about promotion this year, there's only 3 positions we really need to focus on. We need a better centre back than than Burgess, a better CDM than Luongo, and a better cam than Chaplin. Those three are by a mile the weakest links in the starting 11, and once we sort those positions out, if we can, we've got a good shot at doing well this year again. And I ain't gonna lie, for a championship side, this budget is ridiculous. 24 million in season 2 to spend. But remember, because we're still in the championship, we've only got 3 signings to make, so we've got to make these 3 signings count. And starting with the defensive midfielder, we got very lucky in Brazilian Fernando. He's 31 years old, granted, but he's 78 rated. I think he'll do the job for at least 2 seasons. But on the flip side, whilst we have found a better centre-back than our current one, it's not much of an improvement. Federico Anduesa, who's 26 years old and 71 rated. And I've just dropped on one of the best young prospects in world football today, Jesse Lingard, who's 75 rated already. Give him 4 or 5 years time, he'll be one of the best players in the world. And with those transfers complete, our window is officially done, with the team now looking like this heading into season 2. Now me personally, I don't see a world where a team this good doesn't get at least a playoff position this year. I mean, me personally, I want automatic promotion because I'm greedy, but let's be real, crazy things have happened in this game. Well boys, we've just reached the end of June and I'm in genuine disbelief. We've only just made the playoffs alongside Southampton, Preston and West Brom. How do we have a much stronger team this season but finish in a worse place than we did last year? Well, the good news is we are once again in the final after beating Southampton 3-1 on aggregate. This time last year we were in the final against Norwich and we bottled it. Are we about to do the same against West Brom, or are we about to reach the Premier? Oh my days. It get 2 seasons running. Nah, this is a joke. How did we get to the final twice and lose twice? Are we becoming the new Tottenham Hotspur? Can someone explain to me how this team doesn't get promoted? I think this team actually comfortably survives the Premier League. And believe it or not, the stats this year are even better than last year's. 25-8 for Dovbit, 22-11 for Sigurdsson, 18-8 for Lingard, and 12-6 for Fernando, our DM. I'm in a slight bit of disbelief here, boys. I cannot believe for 2 seasons running we made the playoff final and we lost. I've never done that on a video. One thing's for certain, that when we do eventually get promoted, we are going to have one insanely good squad going into the Premier League. So we're now into season 3 with Ipswich Town and we're somehow still in the championship. I don't know how we haven't been promoted with this team yet. It does not belong in this league. But having looked at the team, there's a few areas we could do with improving if we want to secure our spot in the Premier League next year. We need a better goalkeeper than Walton, a better centre-back than Anduesa, and a better defensive midfielder than Morsey. Morsey is actually retiring at the end of this season, so now more than ever we do need a defensive midfielder. And I'll be real, the budget right now is killing me. 30 million in season 3 and we're still in the championship, for God's sake. But we're starting off strong with the defensive midfielder in Oliver Abdelgadi, 75 rated at 28 years old. We'll get a good 2 or 3 seasons out of this guy. And we have seriously got lucky with our goalkeeper, Louis Bernard. He's 75 rated at only 19 years old. I'm pretty sure this is Hugo Lloris's regen. And the third and final transfer of this window is Thomas Arujo, 22 years old, 75 rated. Once again, I think we dropped on quite well with this guy. And even after those transfers, we've still got 24 million in our budget. We need promotion as soon as possible. This free transfer limit absolutely sucks. But that is indeed the end of our transfer window, with the team now looking like this heading into our 3rd season in the championship. This team has got to be the one to do it right. I don't see a world where this squad is still in the championship next year. In our 1st season in charge, we got to the playoff final and blew it. The 2nd season was the exact same as this 3rd season in charge of Ipswich, our 3rd time lucky. Well boys, we've just arrived in June once again and we've done it. We have won the championship. We are promoted to the Premier League as champions. And on top of that, we did it with 100 bleeding points as well. That is pretty impressive. And on top of that, we made it to the quarters of the FA Cup, only losing 4-1 to Aston Villa. Man, just look at this team. I think we're going to have no issue surviving our 1st season in the Prem. And the stats this year are once again pretty good. 20-7 for Sigurdsson, 15-2 for Artem Dovbik, and 12-5 for Osman Bakari. It took us long enough, didn't it? 3 bloody seasons, but we're finally promoted. And that means one thing as well. We can sign as many players as we want now that we're finally in the Premier League. We're now into season 4 with Ipswich Town and we are finally in the Premier League. And with our team looking like this, it's not a case as if we're going to survive, it's how we're going to thrive. Having said that, I would be absolutely stupid to say there's no room for improvement. For starters, we need a better centre-back than Wolfenden and a better defensive midfielder than Abdelgadi. In comparison with the rest of the team, they are by a mile the weakest link. And it's also worth looking for a new attacking midfielder, as Jesse Lingard's 32 years old and his overall will start to go down now. If we can sort those positions out this year, I reckon we're in for a very comfortable season. And this is where the budget really gets painful now. 73 million to spend in season 4. Whilst it's a lot of money that we can't spend a penny on transfers with, we can bring in as many players as we want now because we're finally in the Premier League. And we're starting this transfer window strong by signing Mario Götze, the absolute legend himself, who's 81 rated at 33 years old. And I found a defensive midfielder for at least 2 or 3 seasons, Mohamed Daoud, who's 29 years old and 80 rated as well. And I found a half decent backup option for a winger in Joel Asoro, who's 26 years old and 75 rated. And looking at the team, we have sorted our calm and defensive midfielder role out, but we still haven't found a decent centre back. But we're no longer restricted to 3 signings per season. We can sign as many players as we want. Now this player isn't a centre back, but he's definitely a future attacking midfielder option. Adrian Young, who's 21 years old, 80 overall. I don't know whose regen this guy is, but he's definitely going to be a good player in the future. And again, this isn't a centre back, but he's a good winger. Francisco Trincao, who's 25 years old and already 83 overall. And I'll be honest, there's not one single centre back I can see who's better than anyone we've got, so I'm just going to leave the transfer window there. And this is now the team that's going to go into season 4 in our first season in the Premier League. And I ain't going to lie, I'm really liking how this squad is looking. The best part is majority of these guys aren't even close to touching 30, so they'll just improve as the season progresses. And I know for a fact that some parts of the season our defence will let us down, but I think this team has genuinely got what it takes to get a top 10 finish. Well boys, we've just reached the end of season 4 and Christ above, we almost got relegated 16th in the league. We're literally 3 points above the drop zone. Honestly, my judgment on how I think we're going to do each season really isn't good, is it? But just look at the team, for God's sake, man. This is not a team that should be anywhere near that relegation zone. And honestly, Dovbyk and Sigurdsson probably saved our backsides this year. 18-2 for Dovbyk and 18-9 for Sigurdsson. We've definitely had a reality check this year. We thought we'd take the Premier League by storm in our first season in it, and it chewed us up and spat us right back out. The thing is, we've got an insane team, so we need to figure out what went wrong along the way. So we're now into season 5 with Ipswich Town, and our first year in the Premier League was a bit of a wake-up call. And looking at the team, let's be real, there's 2 positions that are crying out for improvement if we don't want a repeat of last year. We need a better defensive midfielder than Fernando and a better centre-back than Wolfenden. Fernando is now 34 years old, so replacing him this year is an absolute must. And as for Luke Wolfenden, we did try to replace him last year, but we just couldn't find anybody better than him. But I think if we can sort those positions out this year, we ain't going to have any issues in the Prem this time. And again, the board are absolutely killing me. 78 million. We could sort everything out just like that. But as you know, we're only allowed to sign free agents, so let's go there to see what they've got in store for us. And we are starting this window off strong as Maximilian Arnold is a free agent. He is 32 years old, granted, but he's 81 overall, and he'll slot straight into the team. And I have found a centre-back. He's not much better than the one we've got, but he is a little bit better. Mateo Karabjel, he's 29 years old and 77 overall. But on the plus side, I have found a half-decent fullback too, David Jurasek, who's 25 years old and 80 rated. And whilst we have improved the team with the 3 signings we've made, I'm really not happy to leave it there. We've got 65 million left in our budget with unlimited transfers to make, so I'm going to take a proper deep dive into that free agents list again. So the deep dive admittedly isn't going so well. I found Emerson, who's 31 years old and 77 rated, not really who I'm after. But boys, we've just got lucky with this guy, Miguel Barbosa, who's only 18 years old and already 78 overall. I don't know whose regen this guy is, but he's going straight into the team. And boys, believe me, this is our best signing yet. David Contreras, who's 18 years old and already 81 overall. And just like Barbosa, I don't know whose regen this guy is, but I know he's going straight into the team. And with that, our transfer window is finally done, and this is the team that's going to go into season 5. And yes, we switched to a 4-3-3 attacking variation. This is because our box-to-box midfielders are better than our defensive midfielders, so it just made sense. And this time, our defense has massively improved. Barbosa is our weak link, but I've got no doubt in my mind he'll improve as the season progresses. And to be honest, I'm not too fussed where we finish this year. As long as we're nowhere near that relegation zone, I couldn't care less. Well, boys, we've arrived at the end of yet another season, and last year we finished 16th. This time, we're in the top 4 in the Premier League, and we've got Champions League football next year. It's actually mental what a difference a couple of signings can actually make. Man, look at this team. We're definitely not going to win the Champions League next year, but we can certainly put a dent in it. But when you look at the stats, there's no real standout players. 14-3 for Trincao, 9-5 for Young, 9-1 for Dovbyk, and 9-6 for Arno Sigurdsson. I'll be real, I wasn't expecting top 4 football. I was hoping for maybe top 10 or even top 6, but top 4 is absolutely mental. But we got to take this opportunity and run with it because we are now in the Champions League next season. So we're now into season 6 with Ipswich, and we finally made it to the Champions League. But looking at the starting 11, there's only one position we really need to look at if we want to be serious about competing in that competition. Mahmoud Damoud is by a mile the weakest link in this team now. He's 81 rated at 31 years old. If we can find a midfielder better than him, I think we'll have a good shot in the Champions League. And at this point now, I think we just buy for squad depth because there's nobody in that starting 11 I really want to replace other than the centre midfielder. And our budget now is getting ridiculous, 110 million to spend this year. But we're starting off strong as we're bringing David De Gea into the team. He's 36 years old, granted, but he's 85 rated and he'll do well as a second choice keeper. And to be fair, I found a decent second choice centre back in Elias Bellini, who's 18 years old and already 77 overall too. And whilst he won't start for the team, he'll definitely do as a second choice midfielder. Dali Ali, who's 31 years old now and 76 rated. And whilst we have made 3 decent signings, we still haven't found that centre midfielder that's replacing Daoud. And we've got 95 million left to spend, so I think it's worth one more deep dive into the free agents list. And this is where I bought in goalkeeper Stefan Ortega, Rafael Cardoso, and finally a decent centre mid to replace Daoud, Carney Chukwuemeka, who's 23 years old and 79 overall. And with that, the transfer window is officially done, and this is the starting 11 that's going to go into season 6. Now obviously Chukwuemeka is on the subs bench right now, but that's only temporary because I know for a fact at some point he will take over Daoud's position. And to be honest, I'm really confident on what we can do this year. Obviously the team does need to improve a little bit in certain areas, but overall it's bloody brilliant. And we are of course in the Champions League at long last in Group E alongside Paris Saint-Germain, Celtic and Young Boys. Now obviously PSG are the favourites to top the group, but I wouldn't mind a second place finish behind them. As long as we get to the round of 16, I really don't care. Well boys, we've arrived halfway through the season and we are killing it. We're first in the league after 20 games. I'll say something else as well. West Ham are having a cracking season, second in the league. Go on boys. And somehow we've topped the group absolutely storming it and we cruise to the round of 16. And the stats are pretty decent halfway through the season. 12 and 3 for Trincao and 10 and 5 for Arnold Sigurdsson. And at this point there's no free agents worth bringing into the team, so this is the starting 11 that's going to go into the knockouts. And honestly boys, looking at this team, aside from maybe 1 or 2 positions, we've got a very good shot of going all the way. But if we get drawn up against a team like Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the round of 16, it's going to be a very short-lived journey in the knockouts. And you will never guess who we're up against first in the knockouts. It's Hellas Verona from Italy, a team I've quite frankly never even encountered in the Champions League, let alone the knockouts. But we're going to get into this game straight away. Let's see what we should win this quite comfortably. It's a 2-1 win. I would have preferred a much better result than a 2-1 win though. So we're in the second leg now, and a draw will literally get us there, but I want a convincing win, man. It's Hellas Verona, for God's sake. We've got a team that would smash most teams, and we've done exactly that. A 3-1 victory in the second leg. We cruise to the quarters. And boys, up next in the knockouts, you ain't gonna believe this one either. The bottle jobs. Now, if I remember right, we got knocked out not long ago in a video against these guys. This time, that is not gonna happen. Ipswich, do not let me down. It's boys. Don't you freaking dare. I really don't want to lose against Spurs, man. Any other team, I wouldn't really mind it, but bloody Spurs. Oh my God, thank God for that. Oh, thank God for that. You have no idea how relieved I am right now. If we'd have got knocked out again against Tottenham Hotspur in a video, I think I would have reevaluated my life decisions. And the team we're facing in the semi-finals is Barcelona. Now, this one is going to be the difficult one. That team that they've got right there is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to get straight into this. We're away from home in the first leg. And it's a 2-1 victory to Barcelona. We're still not out of this yet. We've got an insane team that can pull this off. We're not in a good position right now, granted, but we have got the quality in the team to pull this back. Ipswich, come on, boys, find it in. Oh, my days. Okay. We got annihilated at home as well. I mean, I suppose the bright side is we didn't get knocked out against the bottle jobs. Let's just hope that in the Premier League we're doing as well as we were halfway through the season. Well, boys, we just skipped to the end of June, and you really ain't going to believe this. We finished third in the league at the end of the season, and West Ham United won the Premier League. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy we finished third and got Champions League football again next year, but West Ham winning the Premier League? Really? But the good news is we have won the Carabao Cup, beating Man City 4-3 in the final, so we don't come away from this season empty-handed. But just looking at this team, a couple of really good signings next year, and we've got a good shot of going all the way with everything. And our front four defo know where that goal is. 20 and 7 for Trincao, 20 and 11 for Sigurdsson, 14 and 4 for Dovbyk, and 12 and 12 for Adrian Young. Don't get me wrong, I'm gutted about the Champions League, but I'd have much preferred getting knocked out by a team like Barcelona than bloody Tottenham Hotspur. But as I've just said, looking at that starting 11, I've got a very good feeling about what we can accomplish next year. So we're now into season 7 with Ipswich, and when you proper look at that starting 11, there's not really anywhere that needs improving. I think we need to focus our attention on this subs bench. We need a better attacking midfielder than Lingard, because replacing an 89 rated player with a 68 rated player just isn't going to work. Other than that, I'm quite happy, but if we find any ballers along the way, I'm definitely not going to turn them away either. And the money we've got to spend is ridiculous. 226 million. This budget is actually killing me at this point. And boys, with this signing alone, we have won the transfer window. Thibaut Courtois, who's 36 years old and 90 rated. And boys, it just doesn't stop there, as we're signing Alessandro Biangiorno, who's 29 years old and 83 overall too. And I'm going to end the transfer window here as we're signing Giannis Constantelius, who's 25 years old and 82 overall as well. And yes, before you say that was a bloody mouthful. And now the team looks like this heading into season 7. And do you know what's mental? All those 3 signings we made are bloody good players, and not one of them fits the starting 11. That's how good this team is right now. Put it this way, this season I at least want to win the Premier League. But we cannot forget about the Champions League, as we're in Group G alongside Bayern Munich, Benfica and RFC Serang. And I don't really care about the fact that Bayern Munich or Benfica are in this group. I want to top it regardless. So we've just arrived in January, and I'm not liking this. We're 3rd in the league halfway through the season, and bloody Spurs are top of the table. This just cannot happen this year. But the great news is we've smashed the group stage, and we are going to the round of 16 again. And the stats this year are just as impressive as the results. 17-2 for Sigurdsson, 15-2 for Dovbyk. And I did everything I wanted to do in July, so this is the starting 11 that's going to go into the knockouts once again. And I'd be lying if I said I'm not confident about how far we can go in the Champions League this time. Last year we got to the semi-final. Hopefully this time we can get to the final itself. And after smashing Fiorentina in the round of 16 and just getting past PSG in the quarters, we are now once again in the semi-final. And boys, we got a chance of revenge in the semi-final. Barcelona is the team we're playing, the same team that last year beat us in this very spot in the competition. Contreras is out suspended for this game, but I think we've got the strength in this team to get past them this time. Barcelona away from home. It's a 1-1 draw. It goes to the second leg. It all comes down to this, boys. 1-1 on aggregate. If we win, we're in the final. If we lose, they've knocked us out twice in a row, 2 seasons running. For God's sake. Oh, we've done it. We've done it. Dovbyk and Sigurdsson, the 2 first signings of this entire video, have put us in the Champions League final. And in that Champions League final is Italian giant Juve, and I ain't gonna lie, I fancy our chances. We're heading back over to the Premier League. We've bloody done it, boys. We've won the Premier League by 3 points, beating Manchester City to it as well. I'll tell you what though, West Ham must have an insane team to keep getting top 4 finishes. And boys, these stats are ridiculous. 30-5 for Dovbyk, 25-7 for Sigurdsson, 16-11 for Trincao, and 11-15 for Adrian Young. And this is the team that's going to go into the final, and what a team we've put together. I've created some good teams with free agents before, but this has got to be up there with one of the best. With players like 91 rated Bernard, 92 rated Sigurdsson, and 92 rated Trincao. You just don't get better than that, do you? And in fairness, we've won quite a bit with Ipswich, haven't we? The Championship, the Carabao Cup, and the Premier League this season. But right now, we've got the chance to win the best trophy you can win at club level, the Champions League. Young, oh, that's a beautiful ball to Trincao. Alvedi is in chase, but I think Trincao's got the legs on him. He's going to go all the way by himself. Oh, what a goal by Trincao. In off the post, 15 minutes in, and we're 1-0 up. Juve, oh dear, okay. Well, that's burst my bubble. We need to be a little stronger at the back, because whilst Juve's defence isn't the tightest, their attack certainly is. Juve pressing forward. Oh no, Vlahovic is in behind. And he's made it 2-1 to Juve. That is not to the start to the second half we wanted. I swear FIFA on a PC is way more challenging than on a console. And Torres is on the ball. I see Sigurdsson running. That's a good ball inside. Oh, Dovbyk, this is your chance. Come on. Oh, you've got to be finishing that, lad. Oh, that's a beauty. Oh, Sigurdsson. It's his time. It's... Oh, no way. How do you save that? Sigurdsson is here. He's got... Oh, please. Oh my days, you ain't never saving that. Contreras with an absolute rocket into the top right corner. We're drawing now with just over 5 minutes to go. Could you imagine if we somehow got the winner here with Contreras picking up the ball? This could be a great chance. Dovbyk has picked up some room. Oh my God. Ipswich have just torn Juve apart. 3-2 with like 2 or 3 minutes to go. That could be the goal that wins us the Champions League. Oh man, just as I was talking about getting a win here, we go up the other end, tear Juve apart, and Dovbyk, one of the first signs of this entire video, has potentially just won us this competition. And that is all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. I completely missed the full-time whistle because he went out for a corner, but that was the final kick of the game. 3-2 to Ipswich, and we have made them the best team in the world only using free agents. It took 7 seasons to do it, and 3 of those we spent in the Championship, but we bloody did it in the end. And if you're still here right now, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that one, you should definitely click here to watch me do this with Huddersfield.